It took one whole hour, but Jacob finally started to get the hang of dribbling the basketball under Kathy's guidance. He had never played basketball except for the occasions when he was dragged to the court by Sam. However, when he was in school, he had been a member of the track and field team and was close with the soccer team. He had often subbed as their temporary goalkeeper and was not entirely a stranger to ball games. Jacob looked at Kathy and said, "Kathy, I've dribbled the ball for an hour now, and my arms are sore. When can I learn something else?" He had his advanced strength to thank for still standing there without breaking a sweat. "We are practicing the standing dribble, which is the simplest technique, and we'll turn to dribble while running after a while. Why, are you tired already?" Kathy addressed him like a coach. Jacob stared at Kathy before sighing and getting back to dribbling the ball. She was being extra bossy today, just like a professional would. "Change to your right hand," Kathy instructed. Jacob immediately changed the ball to his right hand and resumed dribbling. "Good." Kathy nodded approvingly and said, "Now I'll show you the running dribble." She stole the ball from Jacob and ran to mid-court after a series of fast movements while dribbling the ball around him. Kathy kept on giving Jacob instructions while running with the ball. Jacob stood there listening to all her instructions very carefully and admired her for the effort she was putting in to prepare him. This wasn't her job, and she could have refused her brother, but she didn't, and was earnestly trying to train him for next week's match. After looking around, he found that Ryan and the guys had left. It was not surprising, since they could only watch Kathy from afar and could not interact with her. 1 hour of just watching the two of them practice must not have been as interesting, and these guys had the attention span of a little kid. Suddenly, someone whistled at Kathy from outside the court. Jacob turned and saw the basketball team led by Kyle was passing by the wired fence of the court. Some of the team members saw Kathy playing basketball, and some of them had whistled at her. "It seems like not all the players know that she's Kyle's sister," Jacob thought. Kyle, who was leading the team, stopped in his tracks and pointed at the guys who had whistled. "Each of you, 50 push-ups, here and now," he shouted. "Yikes," thought Jacob, and smirked. Kyle entered the open basketball court and walked up to Kathy and Jacob. "How was the practice?" he asked. "Very good. He's a quick learner," Kathy answered immediately. Taking the ball from Kathy's hand, Kyle turned abruptly and dribbled the ball at lightning speed to the net before jumping up and dunking it within the span of 5 seconds. Outside the court, Sam gaped at the scene. He had been jogging for an hour and was soaked in sweat, but he was energized again when he witnessed Kyle's show of skill and strength. "Get back to your drill." Kyle caught the ball and tossed it to Jacob. Jacob caught the ball and was at a loss for words. Sam, who was at the end of the line, turned to look at Jacob in the open basketball court and waved at him in encouragement. "Just ignore my brother. He's just showing off to keep his team in line. Let's get back to our practice." Kathy took the ball from Jacob and dribbled it like a professional player. She then showed Jacob different techniques that he might need. He admired her thorough and professional manner. He was surprised that this academically gifted student was also so good at basketball. Kathy's training session went on till 8:30 a.m., and she didn't stop until the other students began to pass by the court on their way to their classes. Kathy picked up the basketball and said, "Well, we're done for now. It's time for class." "Good. Let's go." Panting slightly, Jacob nodded in agreement. After all, it would be difficult for even a strong person to practice dribbling a basketball for 2 hours without rest while carrying over 55 pounds on each wrist. Walking out of the court, Kathy put the basketball into the basket on her bike. Then, she walked over to Jacob and asked, "I brought the books for today's morning classes with me. Don't you need to go back and get your books? No, we never use books in class. Jacob waved his hand. Exasperated, Kathy shook her head and replied, Okay, then. I will return the basketball to my brother before we go to the cafeteria for breakfast. Then we can head to class. She rode the bike to the stadium nearby and returned to Jacob after giving the ball to her brother. Let's head to the cafeteria. Kathy beckoned at Jacob. You will take me on your bike? Jacob was surprised. Yeah, I'll take you on the back of my bike. Kathy nodded and said, Hop on. Grinning, Jacob scratched his head. He sat on the back seat and latched onto it lightly. He had thought that Kathy wouldn't be able to handle his weight on the bike. To his surprise, she adjusted pretty easily and rode forward steadily. Jacob was in a dilemma. He had thought that Kathy would have to give up and let him ride, but he underestimated her and had to be carried on the back seat to the cafeteria by her for all to see. Kathy was silent on the way. It was her first time carrying a boy on her bike. It was an impulsive decision, but it was okay since there weren't many students on campus yet. They went into the cafeteria and lined up to buy breakfast. Jacob offered to treat Kathy with a meal to thank her for teaching him how to play basketball, and she gladly accepted it. While Kathy waited in line with Jacob, most of the students glanced at her, some openly and some secretly. Kathy rolled her eyes at the obviousness of the situation. Ignoring the admiring glances, she bought her breakfast with Jacob, and they sat down to eat. Seeing Jacob's ordinary looks, the guys were jealous of him and wondered how a plain guy like him had attracted such a pretty girl. After breakfast, Kathy and Jacob walked out of the cafeteria. Coming and going together like that, they indeed looked like a couple. Kathy, you go ahead and cycle to the class. I'll walk, Jacob said when Kathy went over to her bike. Oh, okay. After a moment of consideration, Kathy rode her bike and left for class. She knew Jacob was afraid that the students in their class would gossip about them if they were seen on a bike together. Jacob looked at Kathy's retreating figure listlessly and got lost in his thoughts when he was suddenly disturbed by a loud yell. Hey! He turned around and saw Sam standing behind him, drenched in sweat. What are you doing here? Jacob asked. I've been here for a while. I saw you in the cafeteria but didn't want to interrupt you guys, Sam said while wiping the sweat off of his forehead. You could have interrupted us. There is nothing between Kathy and me. Jacob turned back around and started walking toward their class. Sam walked along with him. He threw an arm around Jacob's shoulder and said, Nothing? Do you think I'm blind? Kathy rode the bike and you sat on the back seat. You're really good at this. How come no pretty girl is carrying me on a bike? You saw that? Jacob asked him. Of course. I just finished practice and was about to head to class when I saw you guys. I chased you guys halfway here, but neither of you heard me calling. Imagining Sam chasing them in dripping sweat while they rode forward breezily, Jacob felt sorry for him, but also found it kind of funny. He chuckled. Seeing a grin on Jacob's face, Sam nudged him with his elbow. Go for her. It seems like Kyle's willing to let you pursue his sister, he said and winked at him. Jacob threw off his sweaty arm and marched ahead wordlessly. In class, everyone had found out that Kathy was Kyle's younger sister, courtesy of Ryan, and it became a hot topic among the students in the classroom. The guys who had been secretly crushing on Kathy lamented about the surprising news while silently giving up their plans to pursue her. They congratulated themselves for dodging the bullet named Kyle. After the class, Kathy packed up her stuff, ignored the glances cast her way, and walked out of the classroom with her roommate by her side. Nobody looked at Kathy the same way now. She was no longer just the regular nerd they had thought she was. The gossip spread to other classes when the guys at school began to talk about how Sam, who was so short, had suddenly joined the basketball team. Thanks to Jacob, Sam was famous. He was in such high spirits that he didn't care about the nature of the gossip. He just couldn't wait for next week's match to begin. However, Jacob remained calm the whole day. After his afternoon classes, he went back to the dorm to change before taking the bus to Cherry Grove High School. He didn't care about all the gossip at the school, since today his priority was the meeting with Sophie's teacher.
Please subscribe to the Pocket FM YouTube channel and press the bell icon for instant notification. Check out our channel for more such exciting shows.